This is part 2, and what we're going to do is just quickly look at the communications. Okay, it's quite a simple thing is this at the moment, so all of the videos are going to be quite short, just so that you can look at the objects individually and we can do one at a time rather than trying to overload you with too much information on one video. Okay, just to go back on what we did, we opened up an empty project on the last video, on the introduction. What I've done is I've saved as, and I've just saved it in my YouTube videos and named it YouTube winCC HMI project. Okay, we'll save that. Do we want to overwrite it? Yes. Okay, so now we've got a saved project, and we're in no danger of losing it. Okay, what we're going to do first is we're just going to go to the communications, which you will find here on the left hand side, and we'll go to connections. Double click your connections and you will then be presented with this window. Now this is empty because we didn't go through the wizard. We just opened up an empty project rather than going through the wizard. If you go through the wizard, this will all be done for you. I'm just showing you the longer way of going around it. So for starters, it's not very difficult. It's as simple as just double click into this first line and it will add one connection line into you. Now mine comes up as connection 3 because it's I've had another couple of connections in there, and I deleted them, so it's picked up the next available connection, and I can actually edit that. I can put the 1 in there if I wanted to. Okay, so what we've done is we've got a connection. It's picked up the fact that we are doing a 300/400. You can choose from a selection: Allen Bradley, Mitsubishi's, Omrons, or Somatics, whether it's 200s or S5s. In our case it's a 300, so it's defaulted to a 300. And of course, whether we want it online or offline, we've got it on 1. Let's just close that down because it's an awful big thing there, and we'll open that up, and you can put a comment in there just to say this is winCC project for let's say YouTube. Okay, just a quick comment of what that's about. Obviously you can have more HMIs connected to your system, so you know, you may just want to put a little comment in there to say what the connection is or what the type is, whatever you like. Okay, at the bottom here of the screen you'll see that it's picked up that we had already selected a 677 19-inch touch screen, and it's defaulted with an MPI or DP. That's fine, we can leave it at that. If you select the Ethernet, then of course you have to give the address that you want for the touch screen, and you also have to give the address of your Somatic station. So you'll need the Somatic Net module connected to your PLC. Okay, I'll be honest, we use the Somatic Net quite a lot, but for this instance we'll just use the DPI as here. So the settings as well, you need to set up the baud rate. So if you're using MPI, it's going to be 187 kilobytes. The address, you need to set up the address of that screen and the address of the station. Now any of you cast your minds back, or if you haven't seen the Siemens S7 Manager videos that I made for the S7-300, in some of the early videos I actually made mention that the PLC will come up as a default address as 2, and it comes up as a default address as 2 on the MPI and on the DP as well. Siemens always defaults that to 2 because, and I said at the time on that video, that HMIs will normally be 1, and your PC, your laptop or your computer that's connected to the system you will set up as address 0. So that is kind of your master on the system. So laptops and connection devices such as laptops or desktops, etc., are default to 0 address. MPI or DP for address on the HMI will default to 1, and all of your PLCs default to 2. And then what that does is it allows you to then use 3, 4, 5 and upwards for any external devices such as DP couplers, or I don't know, anything like inverters or anything else that you might be using at the time. Okay, the network profile here is MPI, DP, standard or universal. Click to DP, you can then select a higher rate. You've got still your address as 1 and still the address under the PLC as 2, and number of masters is 1. So we'll just go back to what we had. I feel that it's not of huge importance to try and create the fastest connection for an HMI. An HMI is, at the end of the day, used by the operators of the equipment, and it's never normally needed that it has to react very, very fast. So I tend to keep things on the low speed for HMIs. So connecting it to an MPI is fine. I don't see any real benefit of connecting it to the Profibus, although if all you want is a Profibus network and not an MPI network, then you may want to do that. But I don't think there's any advantage speed-wise of doing that. So going back to this, we've now set it up as online, which is our access point. We've got it under somatic, we've set the address, and we've set the baud rate. We've chosen the profile of the network to be MPI. This is only for searching purposes. When it's initially connected, it will only go as high as address 31 to check to see if there's anything else on the line. And we've got our station, which is set up to the address of 2. If you have changed the address in the PLC to something different other than 2, then obviously that needs to be the same as your PLC. Okay, so we'll just save it, and there we go, there's our connection done. Alright, so I hope that was helpful, and we will start on the next video by looking at the screens and how to add components to your screens, and add more screens as necessary. Alright, if you like the video, love for you to subscribe, and any comments please leave them on the site, and I look forward to the next instalment of this winCC.